Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down sort of different decor items, different interior design styles, different things that I'm seeing kind of in interior design and whether or not I think they are trendy or whether or not I think they are timeless. So these are items that maybe will come and go, maybe they'll be on trend for a little bit and then maybe they'll kind of go out of style, or whether or not they will be timeless, something that kind of never really looks out of date. You know, it always looks good. And I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on different items and which category they fit into. Also, let me just say that something being trendy isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, it doesn't necessarily, to me, I just look at trends as ideas. You know, some ideas are good, some you really enjoy, you see them and you go, yes, I'm gonna take that. And then some trends, you know, they go by you and you go, you know what, it's just not for me, but it's for someone else, right? Some trends are really awesome and you wanna like take part and you wanna enjoy them. And you know that they might not necessarily be something that's gonna look great in a few years, but that's okay because you're gonna enjoy it while it's here. Okay, so let's get to some specific things and whether or not I think they're trendy or timeless. First up on my list is open shelving. So you're seeing this a lot in kitchens. You've been seeing this for several years. And you know, a little bit of open shelving has kind of always been around, but now we're seeing these spaces that have a lot of open shelving where you're seeing kind of, you know, the whole backsplash practically from, you know, just above the kitchen sink all the way up to the ceiling is practically all open shelving. Is this a trend or is this something that is really timeless? I am going to say that it is a trend. I think that open shelving is something that is here for now, but I think you're already seeing whispers of people already getting sick of it. And here's why. Because it's not actually particularly functional for most people. Like, if you've got some really beautiful handmade ceramics that you want to display, a little bit of open shelving can be great. Maybe some cookbooks or something, whatever sort of speaks to you, and it's a great way to sort of show off your personality and add a little bit of dimension into your kitchen, which is great. A lot of open shelving isn't super practical for most people because most of their dishes, they don't want to display because they're not particularly attractive and they're just there because you want to, you know, eat off them. That is what they're for. And, you know, you don't necessarily want to display them. And sometimes you just want to hide your mess. You just want cupboards to be able to hide a lot of your crap that's maybe ugly that you don't want other people to see. So I think that what's going to happen and what's already kind of happening, people are going to say that open shelving is hard to clean, that, you know, they don't want to display all their sort of ugly dishes, and they start to peel back a little bit and realize, oh, maybe this actually doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do sort of a lot of open shelving in these kitchens. It's great maybe if you're a minimalist and it sort of really speaks to that minimalist style of just having a few sort of simple items that you can display, but it's not practical for most people. And that is why I think it is ultimately going to be a trend, is that it's going to reach a point, it's arguably already there, where people are going to say, you know what, this doesn't actually practically work for me, and we're going to see that trend move on. I don't think this is something that's going to be with us for a long time. Okay, next up on my list is subway tiles. And I was specifically looking at that 3x6 white subway tile that we saw that was so popular several years ago. I mean, I have it in my bathroom. I still love it. And that brings me to whether or not I think it is trendy or timeless. I think subway tiles are timeless. I think it is something that will look good for years to come. I think subway tiles always look beautiful. Now, timeless doesn't necessarily mean that it's just always looks amazing and it always looks on trend. I think things that are timeless can still ebb and flow in terms of people's tastes and whether or not they fit into sort of design styles of the moment or whatever. I think subway tiles are not as popular as they were several years ago, but I don't think this is something that's ever really going to look out of date. I think the 3x6 subway tile is really beautiful shape. It's kind of a timeless shape and it's in a beautiful pattern that is going to last for years and years to come. I don't think this is something that you're ever really going to regret. Now, is it the tile pattern that is the most on trend at the moment? No, I would say vertical stack tiles are probably the design that I am seeing the most popular right now of the moment. The 3x6 subway, not as popular as it once was. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is going to look incredibly out of date. I think subway tiles are beautiful. I think it is a classic pattern and it will be with us forever. And that's a good thing. And if you do put subway tile in your kitchen or bathroom, yeah, it's not going to be the trendiest thing of the moment, but I do think that it will be beautiful for years to come and you're never really going to regret it. Okay, third up on my list is marble. So marble, let's talk about it. You know, again, for years, it's been very trendy. A lot of people have loved marble coffee tables, end tables, dining tables. You can see one back there. I'm a big fan of marble. I love it. I think it's gorgeous. So do I think it is trendy or do I think it is timeless? I think it is timeless. I think marble has been around for thousands of years. I think it will be around for thousands of years, and I think it will always look gorgeous. I think marble is a beautiful material. It is a natural stone. If you actually saw my video that I did on timeless design, it's actually one of my favorite videos that I've ever done on this channel, to be honest. I'm really proud of that video. And in that video, I talked about how natural materials were really important to integrate into your home because I think they are more timeless than some of the manufactured sort of man-made stuff that we see. Marble is a natural stone. Marble is something that I think think will always look gorgeous. Will it go in and out with people's tastes? Of course, people might start preferring, you know, granite or quartzite or different natural materials. I think marble in its natural form is going to be around for years to come. Now, some of the contact paper stuff or marble effect, I've talked about that in previous videos. You know, is that trendy? Yes. Will that eventually go out? Absolutely. But actually, natural stone, marble in its purest form in slabs or tiles or whatever, in mosaics, whatever, are going to be gorgeous, and they're going to be around forever, and they are timeless. Okay, next up on my list is sculptural furniture. This is a tricky one, I'll be honest. So you're seeing a lot more of this sculptural furniture that is in stores right now. You're seeing it at retailers. You're seeing a lot of designers put this in their home. It's getting into Architectural Digest, and it's going on House and Home magazine and all these different places. You're seeing sculptural furniture. Now, let's really talk about for a second what's happening. So I think the reason why sculptural furniture is really taking off is really we're seeing this whole movement to like kind of a postmodern thing, which if you want me to talk about that on this channel, I will at a later date. I think we're seeing this movement towards postmodern because a lot of people are getting tired of sort of the mid-century modern sort of Scandinavian look where everything is really simple, really basic, seeing a lot of really simple shapes in their furniture. And the postmodern era is sort of characterized by a lot more funkiness, a lot more sculptural elements, a lot of sort of form over function a little bit, and you're seeing a lot more of these sort of sculptural pieces show up in retailers. I think this is a trend, but this is, to be honest, one of the ones that I'm the most unsure of. No, I'm pretty sure of this. Like, I think a lot of this really sculptural furniture that we're seeing is gonna look really trendy. I think it's really cool. I love to see people experiment, and they're trying out, you know, some of the old classics, some of the shapes that we saw in the 80s and 90s, which is great. We're seeing some of those come back, which is really interesting and cool. But I do think, like the 80s and 90s, it will eventually look out of date. I think it will be off trend quicker than some of the other things that I've talked about in this video. So I think some of this really cool, interesting sculptural furniture can be really awesome to bring into your home. And like I said at the beginning of this video, just because it's on trend doesn't mean it's bad or you shouldn't do it. It just means it's an idea. If it really speaks to you and you love it, go for it, bring it into your home. Do I think it's something that is going to be around forever? No, I think a lot of this sculptural furniture eventually will fall out of trend. And that's just because, again, for most people, it is going to sort of hit a critical mass where it kind of becomes so popular that you see it's all over the place and people start to go, ooh, okay, this is maybe a little too weird, a little too funky for me, and they will start to move back into more of a traditional design style, or, you know, into something that's a little bit more simple and pared down than some of this really amazingly cool, but really funky and maybe a little bit too weird for most people, sculptural furniture that we're seeing right now. So I'm going to label this a trend, a cool trend, a fun trend, but a trend. Okay, and then fifth on my list is I'm going to talk about white kitchens. Okay, white kitchens. Is this trendy, that is maybe arguably a little off trend, or is this timeless? Now, I talked about this in a video, my first kind of I'm over it video. I talked about how I was really sick of white kitchens, and that is true. I am sick of white kitchens. Personally, I am sick of white kitchens because the all white kitchen to me is just very overdone. I've seen it a whole bunch of times, blah, 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 please see that video. But do I think they are timeless or do I think they are trendy? I think in the end, a white kitchen is timeless. I have to admit it, even though I think they're a little boring, personally, just me, I don't love them, but I have to admit, they're timeless. There's a sort of a clean, fresh feel to a white kitchen that just really makes sense. White as a neutral, which if you saw my timeless design video, you know that's another point that I made in that video. Timeless design and white and neutrals just kind of go hand in hand together for me. So I think that a white kitchen, it just feels fresh, it feels open, it feels airy. I'm not saying you should get one necessarily. Again, they're not my taste, but since when do I make that a big deal? Just because they're not my taste doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Ultimately, you're a smart person with your own taste. You figure out what you want to put in your kitchen. I think white as a color is a timeless color. It is a beautiful neutral. There's a reason why Benjamin Moore, when you look at their wall of paint samples, how they have a whole 3 columns dedicated just to white. White is so popular because it is really a timeless color that, yes, again, you know, they might go in and out of popularity for certain things. I would say right now people are more attracted to sort of these darker, moodier colors, or they're, you know, erring on the side of off-whites or sort of warmer neutrals. These tend to be more on trend than just kind of your classic white. So yes, it might not be the trendiest, coolest of the moment option for you if you were to install a white kitchen, but I don't think it is something that in 3, 5, 10 years, you are going to regret necessarily a white kitchen. It is always going to be a very safe and classic choice. And again, I'm the guy who is put a video that has a lot of views discussing how I am so sick of white kitchens, but they're timeless. They're never gonna look out of date. They're always gonna look classic. It's always a great choice. It's a safe choice. In my opinion, it's a reasonably sort of boring choice, but it's a good choice. It's a safe choice. It's a timeless option. So that's it for me for today, everyone. I'm going to recommend you watch that video on timeless design. Again, it is one of the videos I am most proud of on my channel, and I think you should watch it. I think it really sort of outlines the logic for how I framed a lot of the things that I discussed in this video. I think also if you want to see me do another one of these videos, let me know, and I can pick 5 new topics, and that'll be really fun, and maybe it's a cool new series for my channel. So I'll see you all in that next video. Thanks, bye.